Have you ever stared at a simple snack from Japan, buried under a mountain of pretty wrap, and just wondered, why? It feels like too much, but it's not by chance. There are huge, secret reasons for all those layers. What looks like simple excess is actually a very old, very smart way of doing things that goes right to the heart of their culture. It's a secret system, waiting to be peeled back. It's like peeling an onion. You go through layer after beautiful layer, and each one is part of a performance. In Japan, the way you wrap something is just as important as the gift inside. It's a way to show you care. The act of unwrapping it is meant to feel special, almost like the curtains rising on a tiny stage. It's an art form that turns a simple snack into an incredible experience. But here's the thing. All those perfect layers create a huge mountain of trash. And you have to wonder how that fits with Japan's image of respecting nature. You might hear that Japan recycles over 80% of its plastic. The problem? A huge chunk of that isn't really recycling. They just burn it for energy. So while it looks efficient, the massive waste problem is still there, hiding in plain sight. It's a culture of deep care, with a system of massive disposal. But what if all those layers aren't just for show? What if they're actually a brilliant solution to the pressures of everyday life in Japan? Think about this. On average, people in Japan have some of the longest commutes in the developed world. We're talking about 43 minutes each way, every single day. That reality creates a massive need for quick single-serving meals that people can grab on the run. So the packaging for that food has to be incredibly smart. It's designed for total convenience. You'll find microwave-safe trays built right in, lids that are guaranteed not to leak in your bag, and clear windows so you can check the quality instantly. These aren't just nice touches. They're essential fixes for a population that's always on the move. But it goes even deeper than that. All those layers are also about hygiene and safety, which are hugely important in Japanese culture. When you see a single cookie in its own little wrapper, it's sending a powerful message. It's telling you that this food is perfectly clean and that you're the very first person to touch it. This national focus on safety became locked in after a terrifying event in the 1980s, known as the Glyco Morinaga case. A criminal group poisoned candies and blackmailed the companies, creating a nationwide panic. After that scare, everything changed. Tamper-proof seals and multiple layers of protective film became the standard. Packaging was no longer just about presentation. It was about trust. It was the only way to show people that their food was absolutely safe to eat. And here's another clever part. Those same protective layers also make food last much longer. This connects to a core Japanese value called motai nai, which is basically the idea that it's a terrible shame to waste anything. From the outside, an extra layer of plastic might seem wasteful. But if that plastic stops food from spoiling, it's seen as the better choice. Because in this mindset, wasting the food itself is a much bigger problem than wasting the packaging that protects it. But beyond all the clever, practical fixes, there's a much deeper story being told. In Japan, packaging is a form of nonverbal communication. It's a language of respect. It's all rooted in an ancient art called tsutsumi, which is the art of wrapping. And the whole point isn't just to cover something up. It's about the beauty of slowly revealing it. The person receiving the item is supposed to have an experience. The process of unwrapping has been compared to opening the curtains at a theater. It's a little bit of drama and anticipation, all by design. This entire ritual is a physical expression of omotenashi, a special kind of deep, thoughtful hospitality that Japan is famous for. As one researcher, Ryo Matsuzaki, put it, when you hand over a beautifully wrapped gift, you're not just giving an object. He says, you're handing over your respect, your care, and, brace yourself, your soul. When you think about it that way, the wrapper stops being a disposable container. It becomes a key part of the gift itself. The famous philosopher Roland Barthes once said that in Japan, the packaging is the product. He meant the artistry and thought that goes into the wrapping is just as essential as the item hidden inside. You can see this in traditions like mizuhiki, the art of tying beautiful, intricate cords around a gift. Each knot and color has a meaning, and the act itself is meant to literally tie good fortune to the person receiving it. So, in this culture, the packaging acts like a special protective barrier. It doesn't just keep the contents safe from dirt or damage. It surrounds the object with a sense of importance and respect. Every layer, every fold, and every carefully tied ribbon is a form of silent communication. It's a quiet, powerful, and incredibly clever way of saying, "This is important, and so are you." But here's where this beautiful, silent language runs into a very loud, very modern problem: a massive amount of waste. It's the big question that hangs over everything we've talked about. How can a culture so focused on care and respect produce so much single-use plastic? On the surface, it seems like they have it all figured out. According to Japan's own government, the country recycles a staggering 84% of its plastic. That sounds incredible, right? One of the best rates in the world. But there's a catch. When you look closer, you find that more than half of that recycling is something called thermal recycling, which is just a fancy way of saying they burn it to create energy. So while the number looks great, a huge portion of the country's plastic waste is literally going up in smoke. This whole situation gets even more complex when you realize it's tied to those same values of care and respect. For decades, single-use plastic has been seen as the ultimate guarantee of hygiene, safety, and convenience. And then there's the concept of mottainai, the idea that it's a shame to waste things. It sounds contradictory, but in this mindset, wasting the food itself is a much bigger shame than wasting the packaging that protects it. The plastic is seen as a necessary sacrifice. But a change is slowly starting to happen. Big companies are feeling the global pressure to get more sustainable. Nestlé Japan, for example, has started wrapping its famous Kit Kat bars in paper instead of plastic. And the parent company of Uniqlo is also making a public push to use way less single-use plastic in its operations. These are small steps, but they're important. They show that Japan is trying to find a new balance, a way to keep its incredible traditions of artistry and respect, but adapt them for the realities of the 21st century. It's a huge, complicated challenge. How do you fix a system that for so long wasn't seen as broken at all? So, what looked like simple wrapping turned out to be a whole story. We've seen those layers aren't just for show. They're smart ways to handle busy lives and quietly show deep respect. But this careful system runs into a huge modern problem: a mountain of waste. It's tricky because burning plastic for energy gets called recycling. This makes it seem like things are fine, even as ocean plastic keeps piling up. It's a real clash between old values and today's realities. But change is happening. Big companies are finding new ways to package things. And old ideas, like the reusable furoshiki cloth, are coming back. Japan is trying to find a new balance, keeping its traditions while facing today's challenges. This story of deep care meeting tough realities is still unfolding. Want to keep peeling back the layers on unique cultural systems and surprising truths about how the world works? Hit subscribe. You won't want to miss our next discovery.